Hello gamers and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be showing you guys a variety of different armor, weaponry and methods to start the long journey that is dungeons. It's fun, a great way to make money, spend money and gives you a purpose in the game. There are, in case you didn't know, a variety of classes and items that are dungeon specific. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Quick disclaimer. You're going to need Combat 15 to enter a dungeon, and Combat 18 is recommended as a minimum. You're going to need at least $500,000 to throw at dungeons, and optimally several million. You're also going to need to be carried a bunch till you have the Catacombs requirement for some of the showcased items.
You are going to need a class. There are several pros and cons to each class. For example, Archer is great for long range, but the damage is terrible until a later game when you have 30 million to chuck, shoot at the problem. This is not recommended by me for early game as it is so expensive. I will cover it a bit, but I won't be demonstrating. Tank is a great class for early game. The survivability is great, and later, when you get a decent weapon, can be awesome. Some of the armor is cheap, and the requirements are not that steep. Mage is a good class for early game damage, and especially clearing rooms. You'll need a bit of money to throw around, but you only need Catacombs level 9. Then you'll be set. It'll get you a lot of levels fast if you can afford it. Healer is good for early game. To level it, all you must do is heal your teammates and don't need a lot of damage. There isn't much healer specific gear for early game, so it is recommended if you have a very tight budget. Berserker is a good class for survivability if you can afford the gear. This one is going to be stretching into the millions in terms of gear but has extremely high damage. Good for all early floors. All of these classes have great pros and cons, and I'll be covering Berserker, Tank, and Mage in this video and touching on the others briefly in this explanation. Without further ado, let's get into class-specific demonstrations and gear. Are you the kind of guy that tries to aspect at the end everywhere but just can't? Do you like using your mana like this? In this case, you might want to look into Mage class. Mage class requires extremely high intelligence, not that you need it in real life, of course. Later on, you're going to want Mage armor that already give you high intelligence for just wearing it, but for now, any armor with decent stats will do as long as it is high tier and can be reforged. You probably want the Necrotic Reforge, but it's a little bit of a wallet shredder. I recommend it if you're very rich. If you cannot afford it, Wise will do. Starring an armor piece, essence crafting if you're not familiar with it, will be a good idea for this class. I personally use 3-quarter legendary zombie soldier, necrotic, and 5-star, as well as dark goggles with necrotic and 5-star. This set will cost around $1 million if you include the stars and reforges. So, quite an expensive set, but it's probably the best early game mage armor. And if you're having problems with survivability, switch out the chestplate for super heavy armor. This set needs Catacombs 9. For a sword, I recommend an aspect of the dragons. You'll probably already have one, and they are useful outside of dungeons as well. Do not dungeonize this. The Catacombs requirement will skyrocket. Its ability works on all bosses, so is very useful for clearing. This sword just needs combat 18 and is around 800k and very good for clearing. You'll also want a Dreadlord sword. They are extremely useful for clearing the blood room and okay at clearing other rooms. They are often underlooked by most people because of their terrible damage. Here is some gameplay with the mage set I just mentioned so that you can consider mage class. Also, you might want to investigate a Flower of Truth to get for all classes. It's around 3 million and can do 80k damage per hit as a mage if you want something like that. First of all, I'll just showcase the stuff you'll be needing. So here is the armor in my hotbar. As I said before, it'll cost around $1 million if you want to max it out like mine. This set's pretty good. I'll just put it on for you real quick. Boop. Now, as you can see, I have 834 maximum mana outside of dungeons. However, this is outside of dungeons and not really to the point. You can see the armor right there. These goggles are very good for intelligence. As you can see, I can just do my fly aroundy thing with my aspect at the end using this set. Now I will go quickly and show you the swords you'll want to be using. First of all, I have pretty decent defense and stuff, but that's not really relevant as a mage outside of dungeons. So I'll just grab my swords out quickly. The aspect at the end is not going to cut it for you. Here we go. First of all, you will also want to get your hands on an aspect of the dragons. As soon as I get off this pumpkin, I'll show you. An aspect of the dragons is a pretty cheap sword for its performance. You can get it for 800k as of the filming of this video. Now, with it, you can use its ability and stuff, and it's a lot better than the aspect at the end. So, as soon as you've done zipping around with your newfound mana, then you might want to get your hands on one of these if you don't already have it. So, as you can see, I have one here. It's a pretty decent one. I can't actually use one of the enchantments. And outside of dungeons does 28k damage with the Dragon Rage. You do not want to star this item, as I may have mentioned before, because the Catacombs level will be too high. Now, without the extra mana, it only does 14,000 damage. You'll also want a Dreadlord sword, preferably an epic one, but you don't need it. The epic one will be good for clearing Blood Room, especially as mage, because you can just spam it. It's a pretty decent weapon. And without further ado, let's get right into the dungeon so that I can demonstrate this set for you, and as well as the mage class. If you have a lot of money to throw at the problem, this set will be amazing, as you will be able to see in just a second. I'm just showing you the stats of the Dreadlord sword so you can read them. Dreadlord sword is pretty useful, and I believe it's a very good weapon. So you can buy this potion if you need extra crit chance and damage, but I don't really need it right now because I'm a mage. So I'll swap into the dungeon. While I'm waiting for it to start, I would just like to make it known that you probably won't be this good. Even if you max out the set, I am currently mage level 13, I believe, and that gives me a fair advantage, as well as being Catacombs 14. So you won't be quite as good, and I don't recommend doing any of these floors by yourself. As you can see, the EHP of this set's fairly decent. I am not being insta-killed by all of the enemies. If I run it around, I can just kill everything fairly quickly, and I will just speed it up for you quick. So just one tapping everything, even the Crypt Undead. So this is a boss fight. I just died. They're very hard to destroy. I will probably die again. And the reason being is because of how tanky they are. Yeah, there we go. And how bad the mage's melee damage is without a good weapon. If you have a Flower of Truth or something along the lines of that, you will be absolutely fine. Anyway, aside from that, you will probably die a couple of times if you're not careful. I'm used to wearing high EHP armor sets, which is why I die pretty frequently. Here's another Lost Adventurer. This time I won't be dying so easily. A, he's not so tough, and B, I learned from my mistake last time, and I'm not even gonna go below 1500. There you go, he's dead already. To solve this puzzle. You should probably get Badline Client, by the way. It helps with solvers and minimaps and things, like this, for example. just helps you figure them out faster. And it'll help teammates appreciate you more because they want you if you can do all the puzzles. Anyway, back to smacking things in one tap. I'll just open the blood room. I might as well not wait it out. It'll take quite a while. I'll just run away for a bit, kill these people following me using my Dreadlord sword, which, by the way, you should definitely have one if you don't already. Just run around the dungeon a couple of times for fun. As soon as the Watcher says that's enough for now, then you want to run back to the blood room, get on top or whatever, and then just dreadlord them to death. Like you can see there, as long as you have high enough mana, that won't be a problem. I've gotten a B, so I hope you enjoyed this little clip. And tank is all about the EHP. It's basically the balance between health and armor. You can check your EHP by going inside the Skyblock menu, as you can see I'll do in a bit. You'll want high EHP, and for this you'll want some fairy souls if you haven't already gotten them. For gear, you might want to look into getting some heavy armor. For really early game, you can get a full set of the rare version for less than 100k, and it will provide you with high effective health. As soon as you have Catacombs level 9, you can get in a set of epic super heavy armor, which is even better. At this point, you will want a Bonzo's Mask. It allows you to die without dying. Instead, your health is completely refilled, you gain a bunch of buffs, and this has a cooldown of only around 4 minutes. You can get one for 300k. For a sword, if you can, get a fell sword. These are around 250 to 300k and do a ton of damage. Right click allows you to use your class ability Seismic Wave. This sword is a good budget option. You'll want the Fierce Reforge on your armor if you are going for damage. A rock pet is recommended for defense, and you'll also want to star all of your gear as much as possible. Upon reaching Catacombs 14, you can upgrade to the legendary variant of this armor set. You'll be struggling with speed at this point, so if you have high enough effective health points, wear the full set, not a Bonzo Mask. This class is a great support class and can be very fun to play. The satisfaction when you finally find a set combination that lets you sit in the middle of a room not taking damage is extremely high. So I'll go ahead and start the dungeon. I just have to go make my brother switch off of tank class, because that's what he normally plays. So tank is a slow class usually. However, if you get the full set bonus, it's alright for speed because it will improve it. But with a Bonzo Mask, I am extremely slow. As you can see, I just took a whole lot of damage without actually losing any health. That is the great thing about tank. As you can see, I'm just not dying. Now I can't just spend the entire dungeon mindlessly smacking and being smacked. So I'll speed it up after drinking my potion. Alright, 3, 2, 1, and go. Alright, so as you can see, tank is not that slow. I've got 80% my normal speed, which sucks a bit, but I'm able to kill pretty much everything in one tap. I'm doing 35-40k damage, and this is with an armor set that cost me around 400k, and well, actually maybe 500-600k actually, and a sword that cost me 250k, which I'm actually giving to my brother, who, by the way, plays tank, in case you didn't pick up on that earlier. So I'll just run around. I'll stand in the middle here for a bit. As you can see, I just took no damage from standing there for like ages. Dreadlords can do a bit of damage to me, but it'll take them a while to get me even down 100 health. Oh, first boss fight. Not hard. Honestly, I just not dying. I've got maximum health the entire time, and I'm just not gonna go down. Took me a little bit to kill him, but other than that, it was extremely easy. So now, I'll go for And I'll just complete all these rooms. That's the sword, by the way. It allows you to use seismic wave. Now, into the wither room I go. Can kill everything pretty easily. Oh, lost adventurer. As you can see, I tanked that without even losing health. They're very easy to kill. Its tank is way more fun to play when you have a mage or berserker with you. Because then they can do a lot more damage than you, so they'll be damaging, you'll be tanking. That's the whole point of tank. As you can see, it's still extremely satisfying to not take any knockback from a lost adventurer. I'm just going to shoot all of these things real quick, and I am going to solve the water puzzle and head down under there. There we go. Got the Blessing of Life, which will give me even more EHP in case you're wondering. As a tank, I can take on the Blood Room on the ground level without dying, barely even losing any health at all, and dealing out sufficient damage, especially with Seismic Wave. I've got to be extremely easy and consider tank as a class. It is very, very, very good, especially with
Berserker. An expensive class. I don't really recommend this for the early game, but I found a cool set combo that I thought I should mention to you. This class helps with high damage and high speed. You're going to want 3/4 legendary super heavy armor set. This will help with survivability as the set has high EHP. Now this will cost around 400k, then you want to reforge it all to Fierce to help with damage. Then you are going to want to get a Bonzo Mask, also reforged to Fierce. This, alongside the Berserker perks, will get you decent speed and high survivability, costing you only 800k. So, as you can see, I have the set here. You also want a healing potion aspect at the end to getting around, and a deadly machine gun bow for holding off bosses. This set is very good. However, what makes it really truly expensive and also really truly good is the weapon. So I can put this whole set on, but the Flower of Truth. The whole point of Berserker is to be able to one-tap anything, pretty much, with high speed, of course. This is mediocre for clearing, as you can only murder one thing at a time. You need a superb weapon, and I recommend the Flower of Truth. Mana requirement is 10% of your max mana, so you can use it as any class, and the weapon can do 100k plus damage in the hands of a Berserker. This is a highly recommended weapon, but it will cost 3.1 million coins at least to get it good enough to use.
So, I've joined the dungeon with all of my gear. I'll just put my stuff in my hotbar, like so. And as you can see, straight away running around at Mark 4, the ability for the heat-seeking rose ability of the Flower of Truth is extremely good. I can one-tap all of these spiders without even losing health. Now, as you can see, the armor without the Bonzo Mask is doing extremely well. With the Bonzo Mask, I have a lot of EHP, and I have actually less with the full super heavy set, which surprised me a bit, but it's what it is. So I recommend the Bonzo Mask more. So now I'm just going to complete the rest of the dungeon, killing everything in absolutely one hit, except for the Angry Archaeologist bosses, and also Lost Adventurers, all of which I can kill extremely easily. Now, next boss room I find, I will demonstrate the Bonzo's Mask ability for you, as I was not patient enough to die in tank armor last time. So as you can see, I'll fight this guy out. And now I'll demonstrate the ability. I'll just chill up here with the Bonzo Mask on until he kills me. Whoops, I So as you can see, it easily saved me there. I just killed him straight afterward. That's why you should use the Bonzo Mask, especially useful in the floor 1 boss room. And now I'm just gonna rip through everything else, open the blood kit room, and while I'm waiting, I'll do this puzzle room. Alright, shouldn't take me too long, and there we go. Get that chest. Now I will go into the blood room as I have cleared every other room in the place. I'm just gonna kill that guy while I wait. Alright, here we go. I don't have as much EHP this time around, so I'll have to be extremely careful whilst doing this, but I'm not even dropping below 1,000. I've got a B, very good class, however quite expensive. Didn't take me very long either. It's one of the best ones to solo, and so I hope
So
you
no matter
enjoyed
what
watching the
class you play,
Berserker.
no matter how good you are, no matter how rich you are, thanks for watching. I hope you got something out of this video. I put a lot of effort into it. Remember to shoot, smash, and tank your way to the subscribe button, and goodbye for today.